What's up, everybody? Cody DeQuisto here, and welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is a little different, but based on a handful of conversations I've had in this past week alone, I am just super compelled to do a video on this, and I think it needs to be said. I don't think this is talked about enough. I think a lot of hunters, seasoned guys who are real consistent, and newcomers especially, fall victim to this trap all the time. And worst of all, it can cost you the biggest buck of your life. So today, I want to talk about shot placement. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What is there to talk about shot placement? Who doesn't know shot placement? It's kind of a silly topic maybe. Well, I beg to differ because I think that as hunters, we are taught and educated to aim for the wrong spot. I know all the diagrams and all the targets and everything out there shows that heart shot, the heart and lungs way up front there, right above the front leg, right behind the shoulder as being the holy grail shot. And that's what we all strive to hit for the most ethical kill, and that's what we practice for. As I mentioned before, that's where the 10 ring is on all of the target. That's where the X marks the spot is on all the diagrams. And I personally think that this is costing us a lot of deer. So the conversation that I've had this past week that I mentioned in the intro here, of people close to me, very good, very consistent killers, and all three of them lost a buck and weren't able to recover it from a shoulder shot. And this is just something, man, especially people close to me, that I have no remorse for anymore. I simply speak my mind on this and I tell it like I think it should be. I think it is a fool's game to be going for that shot and you're just flirting with disaster. Any of us who've been hunting for a long enough time can probably relate to these stories. We've all hit them in the shoulder. We've all got very minimal penetration, and we've all not recovered a buck due to that scenario. Guys, the solution is simple. Don't crowd the shoulder. Aim further back. Go center mass of that chest cavity. Like, why are we going so far up and getting so close to the leg bone, the ball and socket joint, and the scapula? Like, I know there's an opening there and we're all the greatest marksmen. I don't care how good of a shot you are potentially putting yourself at a disadvantage by aiming that far forward. So here's what's not talked about enough, and I don't know why, but in a real life hunting scenario, like real world, right? Things will go wrong. Like, you will fuck up. It's Murphy's Law, right? Like, something will happen out there. Whatever can go wrong will, right? And we know that. Sometimes things work out perfectly, but 9.9% out of 10, something happens. And in a situation where you're shooting a deer, you have so many potential things that can go wrong in that moment. And here's the thing. You can be the greatest shot in the world. Like, literally the greatest shot in the world. And you'll still eat shit a bunch of times. That's whitetail hunting. That's how it goes. There's just so much that can happen from the time you release that arrow to it actually hits the deer. And more times than not, these deer make a quick, sudden move at the last second. For one reason or another, they turn or they move, what have you, and that's what results in the shoulder hit. Whether it's a reflex, they duck on you, there's just so much that can happen. So here's what we're doing when we aim for the heart and we aim that far forward, way above the front leg. We are giving ourselves no room for error in one direction. That's what we're doing, right? So if he makes a sudden turn, if he ducks on you, if he backsteps, if he does anything, right? You have the potential of hitting a rock solid ball and socket joint, a leg bone, scapula. All that stuff is right there, so close. And this happens so much, right? Or let's just say, for instance, you're not the dead-eye shot you thought you were, and you're just off 4 inches to the right. Well, you're screwed. Now, I've never been a world-class shot, but that's not why I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this because I'm an advocate of eliminating all the factors and the possibilities of something going wrong. Like, why wouldn't you? It's the same reason why I could never get on board with mechanicals early on. I've always been a fixed broadhead guy. The fact that that head might not open up and could cost me that deer, like, why would I even take that chance, right? This is how I look at everything, man. I'm just trying to stack my odds and I'm trying to play the most efficient game I can. I know a lot about tracking deer. I've shot a lot of deer in my life. I've lost a lot of deer in my life. And when I look at the vitals, man, I don't want to be anywhere near there. I hit a deer square in the shoulder once, got 0 penetration. It was a giant of a buck early on when I was a kid. And from that day on, I learned a hard lesson and I never crowded that shoulder again. And it amazes me how many people out there shoulder shoot deer and lose trophies and lose sleep, and they continue to aim in that spot. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to start to fly the ethics flag and oh, the heart shot is the most ethical kill shot and yada, yada, yada. Well, I disagree. I know that we shoot them there because we're focused on a double lung heart shot. They'll lose the most blood the quickest, and that is true. But I don't think you need to hit the heart to have an ethical shot or the most ethical shot. Like, actually, in fact, I've shot deer way further back that have died quicker than deer I heart shot. Yes, I have heart shot deer. And I'm not gonna bullshit you, I'll be completely honest. I wasn't aiming for the heart. I was aiming way over to the left, and I was that far off and actually got a heart shot. So I'm not gonna bullshit you. But that's what I'm talking about. This is the game. We gotta stack our odds, right? I think the absolute best shot you can get on a deer, on a whitetail, is a double lung. You punch a hole in both those lungs and that deer is not making it, and he's not making it far. I'd say by far that is your cleanest kill. Now, whether that's way up by the heart and you punch both lungs, or it's way to the back of the lungs. With that being said, let's talk about the lungs for a second. I think most of you out there aren't realizing how big the actual lungs are, especially on a big mature animal, right? And how far they stretch back. You know, when I talk about my shot theories and my placement and sliding my target back about 8 to 10 inches and aiming for the middle of the chest cavity, in everybody's head, they're thinking, oh, well, that's gut shot, that's too far back. No, it's not. That's the rear of the lungs. The lungs extend all the way to the back of the rib cage, all the way to the back of the diaphragm. You have so much room for a hammer of a kill shot in the entire chest cavity, completely away from the heart. Like, there is a lot of good stuff there. Not only that, you got the liver back there. And a lot of people talk bad about the liver, but I will tell you, there is no deer that will die quicker than a double lung liver toward the back of the chest cavity. Like, dude, they don't make it 40 yards. Like, they are so done. That actually brings up a good point. I mean, on that note, like, a lot of people talk bad about the liver. I don't get it. The liver, hitting the liver is a guaranteed kill. Guaranteed. A deer cannot survive with a punctured liver. Actually, you could even nick that thing and they're dying. Like, you know they're dying. The liver filters all the toxins through the blood. They will die. Like, there's no way they can survive with a punctured liver. Yet the liver shot is like demonized. And you could argue that it could take a while. In a sense, that could happen if you only nick the liver and liver alone, which is very hard to do. Most times when you get liver, you're gonna get lungs with it or get guts with it or get something else. And you are gonna be in a phenomenal position. And let's just talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the odds game. So here it is in a nutshell. We need to stop crowding the shoulder and stop aiming for the heart and start aiming for the center of the actual lungs. That will put you about 8 to 10 inches away from the heart. Don't get anywhere near those bones. Don't get anywhere near that leg and that shoulder. Slide it back and put the odds in your favor. When you move your target back and you change your point of aim from behind the shoulder to center lungs, you know, third from last rib, second from last rib, center mass of the chest cavity, you are stacking the odds in your favor. You can be well off either way, high, low, left, right, and you have more odds of recovering your deer. 100%. You cannot argue that. And I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, you know, you could gut shot them. You're more likely to gut shot them. So what? I would rather gut shoot a deer, pass through the guts, than shoot a deer in the shoulder and get 3 inches of penetration. Yeah, I said it. Because I know from experience, if I get that gut shot and I get a pass through there, I know what to do when tracking that animal. I'm gonna let him have some time because that deer will die. It's just a little bit more strategic in the way you have to recover him. Versus the latter, you get 2 inches of penetration in that shoulder area and you don't get deep enough into that chest cavity, you're screwed. You ain't recovering that deer. And the worst part about it is you might actually kill him, but not for about 3 or 4 months. You know, he's gonna be all jacked up with testosterone throughout the season and he'll get by just fine, even if he's got a big broadhead, you know, buried behind his shoulder under his skin. And don't get me wrong, he might live a happy life forever, but that also might kill him. You know, as soon as that testosterone starts wearing off, it gets infected, late season comes in, the winter creeps up, he ends up getting run down by coyotes. Well, what kind of death is that? So I personally would rather give him a little time, recover my deer, be able to eat the meat, harvest him properly, than have him die a slow death 3 months down the road and never know. That's just my take on it. This brings up another thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way is there's so much talk, so much ethics talk nowadays. Like, oh, it's not ethical, or like aiming here is not ethical, or that's not. Dude, give me a break. We are hunting whitetails. We are killing deer. This is a blood sport. Like, make no mistake about it, right? Like, we're killing animals. So the fact that some of these people can be so on their high horse, oh, well, that's not ethical, or this is not ethical, or I don't even step over my deer because I have so much respect for him that dude, give me a break. That stuff makes me sick. Don't tell me I can't step over a deer I just shot and I can't take a picture with some blood in the frame. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should have these crazy carnage. Like, we want to be somewhat respectful, but man, to not even be able to post a picture of a kill nowadays without being bashed for the blood in the photo, or having a smile on your face, or being jacked up and excited, like, dude, give me a break, man. Do what you're doing out there, guys. Be proud of your kill. Be proud of what you just accomplished. Post the picture. You deserve it. Don't let these people make you feel bad for what you're doing. Like, get after it. Shit, on that note, man, I remember somebody came at me years ago after talking on a podcast about how I don't stop deer. And my take on that is I don't stop them. That's my personal philosophy. Years and years ago when I was younger, I tried stopping deer. I had a couple bad experiences, so I don't do it anymore. Like, I've learned. Now, mind you, I've never been a guy who's been taking these crazy long shots, right? Everything I'm doing is pretty close quarters, but you know, the argument is that, oh, that's so unethical to be shooting a walking deer. No, it's not. It's not at all. Like, I could argue the exact opposite with you. I could argue that it's more unethical to stop them, put them on alert, to potentially dodge your arrow, to potentially get a bad shot and not recover them. Not only that, you're letting them know what's happening. See, here's my thing. I firmly believe that when you do stop a deer, the reason they're stopping is because you put them on alert. They are instantly thinking, what was that? So they stop, right? That gives you the opportunity to shoot them. You find your place, you execute a shot. Well, that also puts them on alert. They're more prone now to duck right when you release, to spot you, to visually spot the arrow. And for those of you who think that a deer can't spot an arrow and dodge it, like, you need to reprocess that in your head, because they can, and they have, and they do. Like, dude, they are fast, and they can move, and they can get out of dodge very quickly, right? Not only that, I have a personal belief that when they are on alert, after they do get shot, they know something wasn't right. Now it's 2 pieces of evidence. They're like, what was that? Boom, they get shot. If it's less of the ideal shot, not a double long, let's say, well, they're going to be more prone to run further and be more cagey about what they're doing because they know something was up. Versus in my scenario, what you want to do, and what I try and do, is I wait for them to stop on their own. If they don't, and I know I'm going to miss my opportunity, I don't let that opportunity go out of the window. I shoot them while they're walking. But in my scenario, they're walking through, they have absolutely no clue anything is going on, and when they're shot, they don't even understand what happened. They have no idea. Like, it is completely, a lot of times, a lot of the deer I shoot don't even know they were shot. They run off 40, 50 yards, and they're like, what the hell just happened? You can see it on their face. And then they slowly lose oxygen, and they topple over. Like, you tell me, what could be more of an ethical death than that? So for me, every sit, like my main goal is to be undetected in the woods, right? So that's a success for me. If I go in and I hunt an area and let's say I don't kill or I don't even see a good buck, but I sit that area, I have deer move through that area that are close enough to me to where I could have killed and they had no idea I was there, that right there is a win for me. And I mark those wins every day. That's what keeps me going. That's a successful hunt for me. It's why I don't do a whole lot of calling. I don't do any rattling. I don't do stopping of any deer. Like, I just want to be a ghost. Sorry, I kind of got off there on a tangent, but that's what this is about, man. Gear and grit. Wherever it goes, it goes. Back to shot placement. So out of all the deer I've ever shot, 2 of them have been heart shots. And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, they were not intentional. Out of those 2 heart shots, 1 was put dead center through the heart. So that was a clean 100% heart shot. That deer ran like a bat out of hell for probably 200 plus yards. There was so much adrenaline running through that thing's body that, so I think a lot of us don't even think about that too, is like so more often than not, those dead on heart shots result in a deer running harder and farther than a lot of other shots. The second heart shot, I actually clipped the bottom of the heart. And I know that because after I field dressed them, the heart looked like a butterflied steak. One of my blades just sliced the whole bottom. I never got any ventricles. That deer didn't even die and probably wouldn't have died had I not tracked the hell out of him and got a follow-up arrow. You know, not only that, another thing, when you're aiming that far forward, you start getting into close quarter scenarios, and a lot of people end up one-lunging deer that close because they're so far forward, and when they get closer, they don't realize that they're shooting over the top of the closer lung and just clipping the opposite one. Now, if you're further back, you have more of an opportunity to hit that liver. So another thing I didn't even mention yet is when you're that far forward, you have to worry about the potential moving of that leg. Like, this is what I mean about real life scenarios, right? We're in the timber, we've been hunting our ass off, we finally have that mega giant coming in, and he's walking in. We're doing our best to process everything. We're trying to think as clear as possible, but that is a lot easier said than done. So these little things that you have to take into account, like, okay, what exact position is he standing in? Is he slightly quartering to me? Is he slightly quartering away? Is his leg back? Is his leg forward? These are crucial things that will make or break your kill shot. And another big reason why going way far forward for that heart is just not smart. If that leg is not where you thought he was, or if he's just slightly quartering differently than you thought, man, you almost have a shield of armor over your target. You slide back and you're way safer. Another point to talk about on the topic of shot placement, trying to dump it all out there, especially for you new guys, like, and actually seasoned guys as well. Like, we've all made this mistake as well. And what we need to do when we analyze shot placement and when crunch time is upon us is we need to think more about where the arrow is exiting the deer and less about where it's entering. So if you think about that and you break it down, you need to analyze the position in which the deer is standing and the flight path of your arrow that it will take through the deer. And it's really easy to default to subconscious instinct and aim at that place where you always aim at your target in the yard. For instance, the deer comes in a little closer than you anticipated, you're high up in the tree, and you're aiming at the point of the body to which you typically aim for a broadside shot a little further away. Like, you may hit him picture perfect in that spot you were aiming, and you're likely to only get one lung and never recover that deer. Just based off of the flight of the arrow. You didn't take into account of how high you were and the angle at which your arrow is going through the chest cavity, and you didn't get into enough vitals. And this can potentially be even more dangerous the further up you aim too. So if you're aiming for in between that, right behind that shoulder, and let's say he's even quartering away, right? But he's really close to you, that arrow can sail right into that armpit at pretty close to center mass of that deer and not even get the heart or the lungs and just come right out the brisket. It can happen. I've seen it happen. I've tracked deer like that. They bleed like crazy. You never find them. You won't find them. So do yourself a favor. Quit crowding the shoulder. Quit trying to go for that heart shot. Slide back about 8 to 10 inches. Get a nice double lung pass through. Recover more deer and never kick yourself in the ass again for shooting one in the shoulder. All right, guys, I've rambled about this topic enough. That's my take on shot placement. Let me know what you think on this theory. If you agree, if you disagree. Again, this is just something that I've done over the course of my entire life that has allowed me to recover more deer. All right, guys, until next time, go get after it, chase one down, and shoot straight.